in your experience of life, do you find all human beings at the same level of evolution? I'm asking you, without prejudice. With all due respect to every human being, do you find every human being at the same level of evolution? Nobody has a tail though, that they've passed. But there are many who look more complete with a tail or horns. A whole lot of them would look more complete with a horn growing out of their head because they're always… Yes or no? You drive on the street and see. In this country it's better, though the traffic is such a mess. Though driving in India is probably the most challenging thing. But I see in other countries, the drivers driving their dream cars are on the edge. Smallest thing, they're in a rage. Actually, that is not so much here, at least in South India. In North India, we know road rages. In South, it's not like that. We crash into each other, we sit down and discuss and maybe we'll settle our son's wedding or daughter's wedding right there. We believe this is our fate, we crashed together. We met with a bang. You don't see much rage on southern Indian roads, but North India it happens. But in other countries I see the rage is so much. Though traffic is far more disciplined, very rarely anybody gets into your way. Here every moment somebody is getting in your way. Everybody is, trying to earn that 7 years imprisonment by attempting… They're all testing their horoscope. Their astrologer has told them you will live to 80 years, so they're testing it today, whether it's true or not. It's a whole lot of things happening. So, in spite of all this horoscope testing, you don't find much rage. So, people who are in such a state of rage, if you gave them claws and horns, it would be more suitable, isn't it, for their state of mind and emotion. They actually want to claw somebody, but they don't have the claws. The evolutionary process should be one day they'll get the claws. So you don't find all of them the same level of evolution because it's a threshold that we have crossed. That doesn't mean that's the end of it. Because the significance of being human is just this. We are not doing anything very different from what the other creatures are doing, same damn things. We are born, they are born, just like that. Their mothers delivered them, our mothers delivered us. Their mothers were more efficient with delivery, our mothers struggled. Okay? Yes. Because they delivered in hundreds, our mother to deliver one, she struggled so much. They eat, we eat, they sleep, we sleep. They reproduce, we may reproduce. They die, we die. The only thing is we can do all this, we can conduct all these very simple aspects consciously. So in a day, from the moment I leave the sleep time for you, that also needs to be considered, but we will leave that. From the moment you come awake till the moment you fall asleep, how many moments and how many actions and how many thoughts and how many emotions or how much percentage of it do you conduct consciously? This will determine the state of your evolution right now. If you conduct it consciously, you will do it in a certain way. If you're going about compulsively, you will look like any other creature. Yes, you will look like just any other creature, not any different, once you do things compulsively. Only when you conduct it consciously, you seem to be on the peak of evolution on this planet, not otherwise. So you can gauge by yourself, I don't want to pass a judgment on anybody. From the moment you come awake till the time you go asleep, fall asleep, how much percentage of time are you conducting your body, your mind, your emotion, your energy and your actions consciously. If you are less than 1%, you know there's a lot of work to do. And I would tell you, if I have to speak frankly, more than 90% is less than 1%. Less than, well below 1%, more than 90% of the people. Those 10% who do little more than 1%, suddenly they look like such graceful beings. Just from tomorrow morning, you want to do it from tomorrow morning? Or now? From this moment till you fall asleep, just see how much of you can you conduct consciously, all aspects of you. Your body, your actions, your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, your energies, everything. To what extent can you conduct it consciously? You see, if you conduct this consciously for 5 minutes, by tomorrow morning people will bow down to you without knowing why they're doing. So that's evolution. And it's something you can do. If you just see it's me, not something else, you will evolve. Because once you become human, you have enough awareness and consciousness to evolve consciously. When you were a monkey, you did not decide, I'll become human being. Nature just pushed you on. But now you're conscious enough to decide, I want to evolve from where I am to whatever is possible. Just try. Just maintain 5 minutes, manage your life consciously today. You will see tomorrow morning how you will be. You will be shining, believe me.
This is like confusing with the conscious and unconscious.
What is in your awareness is conscious. What is not in your awareness is unconscious.
How to be aware every moment in that?
We will come. Right now, you're awake, so you are aware of the light, the air and this and that around you and the people around you. Suppose you fall asleep. Suddenly you become unaware of all these things, isn't it? Right now, you are aware who is sitting next to you for some moment. Now I am talking to you, you become unaware who is sitting next to you, isn't it? So what you're aware of, what you're unaware of is varying. The sphere and the area of your awareness is varying at different times, isn't it? You're not always aware to the same extent. Whether it's about the outside or the inside, you are not always aware to the same extent. When we talk awareness, we are not talking about becoming more and more aware about the outside. That is only for survival. To the extent it is necessary for survival, we must be aware of the outside. See, if you take the animals, for example, your dog. First of all, why dog entered your life? Today maybe for other purposes, but initially why dog entered your life is, he is much more aware than you about the outside, isn't it? If you fall asleep, he still keeps hearing and smelling and tasting and everything around him. That's why you keep the dog at home, isn't it? Today maybe for companionship because people have abandoned you but otherwise fundamentally dog came into our lives because he's more aware of the outside than you are, isn't it? He can see things and smell things and hear things that you cannot. That's the reason why he has come into your life. But we are not talking about that kind of awareness. When we say awareness, we are talking about you being aware of yourself. So how much of you is in your awareness right now? If you look at it, you will see very small aspects of you are in your awareness. So, we have to deepen this process. If awareness has to grow, in one way, if you look at it, what you call as myself is a certain level of awareness, isn't it? Yes? If your awareness disappears, you also disappear, isn't it so? Right now you are alive, how do you know? Simply because you're aware, yes? So in one way, what you call as myself is a certain level of awareness. But that awareness is happening in a minimal way. We want to extend this to every aspect of who I am, so that who I am becomes a completely conscious process. How to do it? Awareness has become a small thing simply because it's lost in these two heaps. The heap of food that you gathered as body, and the heap of impressions that you gather as mind, especially the heap of impressions. Now if you separate it a little bit, suddenly awareness is in full flow. Because it's lost in this, it is like there is a light bulb. Now if you cover it with a lot of cloth, still the light is burning, but light doesn't help to see, isn't it? Now one thing is to crank up the voltage so that light becomes more intense, but the important thing is to remove the cloth that is covering it, isn't it? So we will do both. One thing is to clear it up, another thing is to crank up the voltage. If these two things are done together, properly, sensibly, then you will see more of yourself than ever before.
Your life is an expression of your programs, because 95% of your life comes from the subconscious. What would happen if your subconscious programs matched the wishes, desires, and aspirations you hold in your conscious mind? Twice a day, your brain is prepared to download information, and this is where you can reprogram your subconscious mind. The conscious mind, being creative, can learn from reading a self-help book, going to a lecture, watching a movie. The conscious mind can learn from something as simple as, aha, I just figured it out. So the conscious creative mind has many different ways of downloading information. But the two minds are not connected in the sense that if the conscious mind learns something, does it mean that the subconscious mind has learned this as well? And the answer is absolutely not. The conscious mind learns through its creative processes, but the subconscious mind learns primarily in two ways. I say, so what's different? I say, conscious mind, read a book, watch a movie, hear a lecture, it's downloaded, it already knows. Subconscious mind doesn't learn that way. The subconscious mind is a habit mind. Well, there's two ways to get programs into that subconscious mind. Number one was the way we downloaded information into the subconscious mind in the first 6 or 7 years of life, and that is this. The subconscious mind is operating at a vibrational frequency of theta, which is hypnosis. So it says, oh, yes, you can download information straight into the subconscious if your mind is in a state of hypnosis. So that's one way of acquiring a program. I said, well, the first 6 or 7 years, that's brain of a child is predominantly operating in theta hypnosis, but now you're older, now what do? I go, well, here's an interesting fact. Twice a day, your brain goes through a period of theta vibrational activity. Twice a day, your brain is prepared to download information through hypnosis. I say, well, when does that occur? Well, remember, there are vibrational frequencies that ramp up. When you're sleeping, you're at the lowest vibrational frequency called delta. As you start to wake up, but you're not fully awake, that's twilight reverie. That's where you're just waking up and everything. You're still in a dream world, you're in the real world, you're mixing the two. That's a period called theta. So you go from dead sleep, delta, as you begin to wake, the vibrations start to go up and you're in theta. So there's a period of theta where hypnosis can occur. But as you get more awake, theta gets to a higher vibration. Alpha, that's calm consciousness. You're just waking up. You're doing your routine chores of getting ready to leave the house. And by the time you're getting ready to go to work or at work, your brain ramps from alpha, calm conscious, to beta, which is the active consciousness that we usually engage in the busy world in which we live. Well, then you come back home. Well, you've been operating in beta at work, and guess what? You come home, you start to calm down, your brain slips into the lower vibrational frequency, alpha, calm consciousness, and as you start to get ready to go to bed, guess what? From alpha, it drops down to theta as you start to fall off to go to sleep. And when you finally are in sleep, you go from theta to delta. So that means as you're going to sleep, as you're going from the alert state to the sleep state, you also pass through theta. So twice a day, your brain is engaged in theta. On the way in waking up, going from delta to higher vibrations, you pass through theta. On the way of going to sleep, you go from higher vibrations to delta and again pass through theta. So twice a day, your brain is in a state where it is in a state of hypnosis theta. And this is where you can use subliminal tapes to reprogram your subconscious mind. As you go to bed, if you put earphones on, with subconscious programming to change whatever behaviors you want to change. As you're going to bed, those earphones on your head, as you go into theta, your alpha consciousness is now disappearing. You're in theta, and in that period of theta, which is twilight reverie, the recording of the tape is being downloaded straight into the subconscious. And that's how subliminal tapes work. So if you want to change a program, you can select a tape that will have the program that you desire to put into your mind. And every night as you go to bed, just put the earphones on, and you will be in a process of self-hypnosis. Hypnosis is indeed the first way the subconscious mind learns. But after you pass 6 or 7 years of age, the subconscious mind learns in a different way, and that is called habituation. Meaning, if you repeat something and repeat it and repeat it, the subconscious mind will download it and make it a habit. So, for example, you wanted to learn the ABCs. How did you learn the ABCs? You started A, B, C, D, E, and then you couldn't remember, and then you start A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you repeat it, and finally you get to Z. And guess what? After repeating the alphabet hundreds of times, there's a point where now it's part of the subconscious. So guess what? It's now downloaded in your mind. If I ask you to give me the sequence of the alphabet, you can simply rattle off unconsciously A through Z without even thinking about it. Why? You created a habit that downloaded the alphabet. So, after you're 6 or 7, and you want to change programming your life, a way of doing it is the conventional way, is creating a habit, repeating something on almost a religious level. Let me just make it clear. A sticky note on the refrigerator is not a habit. A sticky note on the refrigerator is more or less a wish. Every time you look at it, I wish that would be true, but that's not a habit. A habit means you have to do something and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. That's the way you learn everything after you're 7, and that's how you learn how to drive a car, for example, or the work that you do, or whatever activities you get involved with. When you repeat them, they become habits in the subconscious mind. But now comes a very important issue. What are the programs you have to change in your subconscious mind? Especially important is the fact that most of these programs were introduced into you even during the last stage of pregnancy, the last trimester, in the first 6 or 7 years of your life. So I say to you, well, tell me about the programs that you learned when you were 1 year old. Tell me about the programs you learned when you were 2 years old. And you go, I don't know, I wasn't consciously aware of those things. I go, yeah, because consciousness started more around 6 or so. So I say, well, how do you know then the programs that you have? Here's the fun part of the whole thing. Science has revealed that we operate our lives 5% of the time from the conscious mind, and 95% of the time our behaviors are controlled by the programs in the subconscious mind. What does it mean? It's simple. Your life is essentially a printout of your subconscious programs. That's what you're operating 95% of the time. So you want to know what the programs are? It's very simple. Look at your life. The things that work for you and that come to you and the things that you want come to you because you have programs in the subconscious that encourage their being there. But anything you struggle with, anything you have to work hard at, anything you put an effort into, you're doing that because you're trying to overcome a program of limitation that is preventing you from going there. So all you have to do is look at your life and say, hey, what works for me works because I already have programs to support that. What I'm struggling with in life, I'm having a problem with because I have subconscious programs that do not encourage that behavior. So right away you automatically know, what behaviors do you want to change? They're the ones that you have difficulty with. Okay, how do you change them? Well, you can use self-hypnosis, the subliminal tapes. You could change them by creating new behavioral habits that you repeat every day religiously, changing the old behavior and rewriting it live every time, saying, no, don't do it that way. No, don't do it that way. Talking to yourself and saying, that's not what I want. This is what I want. And you constantly repeat this to yourself. Guess what? Habit will inevitably change that program and put it into the new program. So now we're down to a very fundamental understanding of life. And that fundamental understanding of life is this. Your life is an expression of your programs, because 95% of your life comes from the subconscious. That if you want to change your life, you could do either of two things: stay in the conscious mind, be mindful, or two, rewrite the programs in your subconscious mind. Think about this. How many of us it's a waste of time for a very simple reason. There's nobody in there to respond to your new wishes and your new desires. You actually have to engage hypnosis, habituation. What is the consequence of rewriting it? And simple answer is this. What would